Welcome back to another episode of the Crown and College podcast brought to you by the CSPN. I am one half of your host, Jeremy, aka Black Dante, aka Confucius, aka Issa Durag, aka Black Samson, aka yeah, that's all I got. And I am joined as always by my co-host and my friend.
What's going on, y'all? This is your boy Sam Bradford, aka the Minnesota Vikings quarterback, who might have just ruined Dan Saints fanhood for good after Monday Night Football, y'all. How y'all doing today?
Welcome, Sam Bradford. This is a very unexpected surprise.
What's happening?
How are you doing, sir?
They said last year I set the completion percentage record and it was a fluke. But I'll tell you what, if I could play against the Saints 16 times a year, boy, it wouldn't be no fluke then, because them boys is garbage in pass coverage. Did you see all the time I had to throw, for one? And then two, did you see all the open receivers I had to throw to, for two? For three, what, they combined for 16 for 250 and 2 touchdowns?
Well, tell them why you're mad, Mr. Bradford. Tell them why you're mad.
Do I sound mad? I am over the moon right now. I feel like we could do this week after week. You should probably sign me in your fantasy league. Oh, wait. No, we only play the Saints once this year. Never mind. I don't know. I might come back down to earth eventually. But 1 week, oh boy, I am king shit on top of the fucking mountain. I'll tell you what. Even one interception I almost threw. The Saints had the interception, and the Saints player broke it up from the other Saints player. That was the best defensive play they had all night.
Mr. Bradford, I wasn't expecting you to get on the podcast and gloat. You know, usually when we have guest quarterbacks, we have them lined up and we have a very nice interview process laid up. You just came through like you did it, sir.
Shit, that's how I do.
You this is very this is very similar to another quarterback that we usually have guests on this podcast, Mr. He Who Is Kirk Cousins.
Oh, Mr. He who lost by 2 touchdowns Sunday, you mean? Whoa. Did my team lose by 2 touchdowns on Sunday? No, well, we didn't play Sunday, but did my team lose by 2 touchdowns? I don't think so.
No, you're all right about that, Mr. Bradford. You're all right. You're all right. You're all right. So what do you have to say to the naysayers out there in sports and football land, Mr. Bradford?
Dalvin Cook is going to be all right, number one. Number two, I was going to skip number two because that's what the Saints cornerbacks did on the field all night. So the two to be going 27 for 32, 360 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. I don't even remember throwing incomplete passes. I think I threw like 1 a quarter. As far as I'm concerned, I went 27 for 27, baby.
So it's fake news, is what you're saying. Your incompletions are fake news.
What? No incompletions. I mean, I might have, misfired. Like I said, the Saints had the interception that they took from themselves, and we went and scored because, I mean, that's what we was going to do, baby. We was going to get them points. Once they gave us the second opportunity, breathe the life right back into us. Thank you, Mr. Linebacker.
So, Mr. Bradford, what is your statement to the rest of the league about your performance in the 2017-2018 Minnesota Vikings this year?
Man, look, I'm going to just be honest. It was just one game, but if your defensive back's going to play like that, it's going to feel like 2 games. It's going to feel like 5 games. It's going to feel like a whole season just went down the toilet. Just like the Saints might as well be feeling right now.
One more question, Mr. Bradford, before we let you go, because we know you're a very, very busy man. What do you think of your fellow quarterback, Matthew Stafford's brand new contract?
Keep getting them checks, boy. Let the dollar circulate. If they hate, let them hate and watch the money pile up.
Thank you for your time and this incredible interview, Mr. Bradford. We appreciate it greatly here at the Crown College Podcast.
Yeah, represent quarterbacks number 8 for life, baby. Represent.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Bradford.
Let's put my check in the mail.
Keep getting checked, boy. Now, I wonder where my usual co-host is.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dan. I'm sitting there fucking a piece of Rebo Colas right now. also known as a Young Titans fan, aka Marcus Mariota is the future, aka swapping all my black and gold for blue and mo blue, aka what the Saints was giving me the blues, it was giving everybody the blues, aka oh, let's just start the show.
Oh man. well, if you haven't figured out by now, y'all, this is the Crown of College podcast with Dan and Jeremy, and sometimes Sam Bradford, and sometimes he who was Kirk Cousins and shit. For all we know, we might get all damn starting of 32 quarterbacks in this motherfucker for an interview. Who damn knows? Who knows? You can find all podcasts wherever you find your podcast. Just search Crown and Collards. You can find us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, your Apple devices, Apple Music, anywhere you Google Play, anywhere you find podcasts, just type in Crown and Collards and share it with your friends. Use the hashtag Crown and Collards when you live listening and tweeting on Twitter, and follow the show page at Crown and Collards, and leave a review. Tell us what you think about the show. We interact, and by we I mean me, because Dan be out here getting checks. And we will read them on the air. And we haven't got a review in a long time, and you know, we here at Crown and Collards, me and Dan, we have feelings, and we
feel a way about this. What's going on? What's up?
We coming up on going on 3 years. This is our 3-year anniversary month, and we trying to put quality shows out here for y'all. And you know, leave us a review. You know, let us know how we doing. You know, like fuck with your boys. You know, and like I say, we'll read it on the air. I'll read it. I'll practice my reading. Shut up, Dan. And you know, and we'll let you know, give you a special shout out, and let you know you loved. And we'll keep on giving you this catfish dinner in the form of a podcast. So go ahead. Do that for your boys.
That's right. Hey, bro. Do it for your bro.
Is Maurice Space still with us?
No.
Okay. All right. I just had to ask. Look,
he's still with the bench. He ain't with us.
Him and the bench are a holy matrimony. I wouldn't call that a holy matrimony though, because it's Maurice Space. That's more like a It's more like
a matrimony.
Yeah, right. It's more like an abusive relationship for the bench, if we keeping it honest. I mean, too far? Okay, all right. But yeah, so we gonna go ahead and start the show. But like I said, you guys leave a review. We'll read it. We'll let you know you love, because you love us, and we'll keep this circle of love going like the circle of life. Speaking of, real quick before we start the show, I over the weekend watched The Lion King, which I haven't done in quite a while, and I gotta say, that soundtrack for that movie is one of the best I think I've heard in my lifetime.
I gotta go ahead and agree with you with that, because
the music for the fucking Lion King, the soundtrack, that shit was fucking it stood the test of time. For nostalgia's sake, you know, when we were younger, we watched the shit, we listened, we grew. But even with older and trained ears, that shit still sounds fucking good.
I gotta say though, the biggest bop on that soundtrack is what's his name? Scar's theme, Be Prepared.
I fucks with it.
That's gotta be the biggest bop out of all the songs. Like, don't get me wrong, I like, you know, Hakuna Matata's a cool little jam or whatever. It was just too happy for me, man. You know, just happiness overload. You know, just I'm just gonna not worry about it. All right, okay, cool.
That really was YOLO before YOLO was a thing.
But Be Prepared was like, the reason we got Stay Ready All Stars today is because of Be Prepared.
You know what? I can't find a lie. You're right. I can't find a lie. So yeah, we are going to go ahead and we're going. I know we did our Bring It Back last week, but yeah, go back and listen to the Lion King soundtrack. That shit was flames, and it stood the test of time. So let's go ahead and get into the show. So I think we may have touched on this briefly one episode, but we didn't really go into detail about it. But I'm kind of so. I'm kind of over the whole battle between the NFL and Ezekiel Elliott in the NFL PA, because it kind of like at this point it's like both sides are trying to win a PR war. You know what I mean? Instead of like whether Zeke really did or did not assault that woman or whatever. Like it seems like the NFL is trying to save face and just do shit because we know they inconsistent as hell when it comes to cases and suspensions and punishment for domestic violence and shit. And I'm putting punishment in quotes and shit. But at the same time, it's like it seems like the NFL is doing too much. But at the same time, nigga, I don't fucking trust Ezekiel Elliott. You know what I mean? Like he is not the nigga to die on the hill for like the call. He ain't that hill to down. Like, and I feel like some people are doing that because they rightfully are tired of the NFL's inconsistency when it comes to personal conduct and the whole domestic violence thing. But it's also like, nigga, it's Zeke. Like, I mean, granted, we don't know or whatever whether or not he did or did assault that woman, but nigga, it's Zeke. He has a history of being a head ass. Like, and not far as assaulting someone except for I think this case, even though I don't know how true it is, but I think there are multiple reports of him assaulting other women besides this one, and then there's that whole thing at Ohio State, and it's that incident where he pulled up a woman's shirt or blouse or whatever at what it was it Mardi Gras?
It was St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. So it's like, nigga, Zeke is by no means like the heel. Like, he is no means a saint in any of this shit. So it's like, I don't, and like I said, I think we touched it in passing before, but didn't really go into like detailing how we feel and shit. So like, how you feel about all this shit? Because I kind of feel like it's all really just both sides trying to look right and not actually giving a fuck about the issue.
I mean, you got 3 parts.
Oh, and Dan just dropped.
Yeah, so you got. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you dropped for a minute, but I got you back now.
Edit that out, classic. So we got 3 parties in this thing. We got Tiffany Thompson, Ezekiel Elliott, in the NFL, and like my inclination is to trust women, just broadly speaking.
Right.
And yeah, try that sometime. By the way, like it tastes great and it's less filling. Anyway, yeah, my inclination is to believe women.
We'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but yes.
But in this scenario, like at the same time, I mean, nobody really is walking around with like the credibility that Jay-Z says is better than having new Jordans and Rolexes or whatever, or avocado toast. I don't know. Whatever Jay-Z beating us up about these days and saying credit is better than that. And the reason I say that is, obviously, like the text that she sent came out, and apparently she was trying to get a friend to corroborate a story for her, and it was inconsistent. And then Ezekiel Elliott obviously has the most to lose in this. So, of course, he's going to say, no, he didn't do it. He's going to deny it as much as he can.
Right.
And then the NFL, I mean, you get to them, and it's like, okay, so they got people that they hire to work on this stuff, and that's all they do. And person says, based on what we read, we probably shouldn't suspend him. We don't recommend that. That wouldn't be a good look. And they suspended him 6 games anyway. And it's like the thing to hang that on was the St. Patrick's Day shit.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you did this fucked up thing to this woman on St. Patrick's Day. You ain't denying it. There's evidence everywhere. That qualifies as assault in public, basically. And yeah, you're getting 6 games for that. And my whole thing is, like, again, the NFL tried to set this precedent with this commit domestic violence, you get 6 games. They tried to set that precedent. And then the Giants kicker got suspended for 1 game.
Yeah.
And then they cut him.
Yeah.
And then
they just recently, like, suspended him. And it's like, nigga, is he even playing?
I don't know. I mean, shit, he might be. But,
Right. But I'm saying, like, like, we don't know, but, like, nigga, how you suspend somebody that ain't working? You know?
Well, that's how some suspensions guys just wind up retiring off it. It's like, I'm 31 years old. I played for 8 years. I got my pension. I'm suspended. I ain't about to try to come back. Fuck that. Nobody gonna sign me anyway. I'm a free agent. I'm just gonna retire.
Right.
But no, this whole situation was just clear as mud. Like I said, like nobody really had much in the way of credibility that was worth notating in the whole situation. So that's what made it hard. And again, like it's like I don't want to side with Ezekiel. I damn sure don't want to side with the NFL. But it's like the whole situation was just the fucking gong show. And like, you know, now there's a lawsuit down the pipe, and it's just like y'all are just losing it.
Yeah. It's like nobody in this situation is
it's worth listening to.
Right. Like, and like you said, like, you know, the first inclination is to, you know, believe a woman that is accusing someone of domestic violence or assault of any kind, because as we know, you know, too often that a lot of times when women come forward with this shit, they're not lying. And we know that the criminal justice system, just like they don't give a fuck about black lives, they don't give a fuck about women either. And a lot of times they do not handle these shits at length and give them the credence and attention that they deserve. And you know, the police, just like the police are racist, the police are misogynistic as fuck. And like I say, they don't give a fuck about women. So it's in our inclination, or it should be, to be like, hey, if a woman is coming forward with this shit, 9 times out of 10 she's not lying. But I feel like this case is playing into that percent of that 1 out of the 9, or that 1 out of the 10 that maybe she is lying, and this was all out, you know. And I hate to sound on shit right here, but a ploy out to get, you know, the black man or whatever in Ezekiel Elliott's case. But it's like, that nigga don't have, in my opinion, that nigga don't have no more credibility than she do, because again, motherfucker has a history of, at the very least, being consistently inappropriate to women, at the very least. You know, so it's like, nigga, I get being like, fuck the NFL because of their inconsistency with this shit, which honestly is, this shit is something that the NFL shouldn't have tried to take up, honestly. Right. Because it's too many inconsistencies and they're never going to get it right. Shit, society doesn't even get it right. So how the fuck do you think you, as a fucking sports league, gonna get this shit right when fucking society doesn't even get this shit right? The fucking justice system doesn't even get this shit right most of the time. So how the fuck do you think you, as a goddamn fucking professional sports league, is gonna get this shit right among your players? Like, it's impossible. Like, you're gonna fail more than you're gonna succeed. So the NFL should have just left this shit alone. But since they wanted to take up this shit, this is what comes with the territory. And they have been, and honestly, like, I don't mean to offend anybody when I say this, but you have to be honest here. It's 3 groups of people that need to stop acting like they give a fuck about domestic violence as it pertains to the NFL. The league, because they are, like I said, they are consistently inconsistent and can't get this shit right. The players, because, I mean, let's just keep it a book. It is way too many dudes in that league that are abusers of women. But as long as you can throw a football or kick a football or tackle somebody with a football or catch a football or block for somebody trying to run with the football or throw the football, you are allowed to cook. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, sadly, it is what it is. And then the third part of that should stop acting like they give a fuck about domestic violence is the fans. Like that's kind of why I remember the episode we had when CJ was on, and I think you jumped in late when we were talking about this shit, but
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the reasons why I respect people that are boycotting the NFL this year because Colin still uh, doesn't have a job. I was saying personally, I would feel like a hypocrite because the NFL has had so many problems. Like I said, sexual assault, domestic abuse, so many men in the NFL, so many players that have these horrible track records of um like being violent towards women, and they're still allowed to play, they're still allowed to work, they're still allowed to flourish. And it's like if I'm going to be on some like moral shit, I should have been boycotting the NFL. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I should have been boycotting the NFL. So for me personally, if I were to boycott because a black man can't get a job because he stood up for because he knelt for racism, then what the fuck does that make me that the other times where XYZ insert player here was beating a woman or raping a woman or or committing some kind of violence against a woman, then why the fuck is it I checked out because a black man can't get a job, but I didn't check out when a black man was abusing a woman? You know what I mean? So for me personally, I would feel like a hypocrite if I checked out now. And like I said, we got to be honest. Like NFL fans, we in general really don't give a fuck about this shit because if it's a domestic abuser that's on our team, we will make capes. And this is no shot to anybody, that I'm cool with or listening or whatever. But a lot of Cowboys fans ready to die on the hill for Ezekiel Elliott. If it and again, that's not limited towards them, but we're talking about Ezekiel Elliott, so But if it's someone on our team, usually the average fan is gonna make cakes. We still gonna watch because we love the game, even though we know these guys are abusing women. So it's like, and then especially with this case with Ezekiel, and even Josh Brown, we're more worried about the inconsistency of the NFL than, hey, these men are fucking abusive and that's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Like, I mean, yeah. Once the NFL got into this sort of cottage industry of deciding, hey, we're going to regulate morality and like extend that beyond, the scope of not just the players on the field, but like, how they conduct themselves off the field and what kind of this to do. Because I mean, like, athletes have been wrought with these issues. I mean, pretty much anybody in entertainment. I mean, we can go down the list and we would have a really short list of people we would be okay with being entertained by, like within the pale of what we consider good and right and just, if we unearthed all the indiscretions of all these folks. The thing with the NFL is it's so concentrated. It's so voluminous. There's so many people who
right
have these things. Not all of them come to light necessarily, but so many people have these pockmarks on their personal lives and what have you. And again, my whole thing is I don't demand perfection from nobody. Just be a decent human being. Be a good human being. Be better than you or worse. That's not that hard to do. And when you got a choice like Ezekiel had in this situation, or like Joe Mixon had in his situation, or like Josh Brown had in his situation, or like other players have had in these comparable situations, just make the right choice. Like don't pick your hand up. Don't strike the woman. Don't do that type of stuff. Don't put yourself in a position to where you having to defend or deny or justify or rationalize or by any other name some truly heinous action committed against a woman or against a child or against whatever.
Right.
And so I don't like that the NFL has gotten into this business of the sub business of legislating morality, because at least situations like this where it's like you have a Ray Rice where the come down is not nearly hard enough. And then you have an Ezekiel Elliott where we got, the most imperfect cast of characters of all. And no punishment makes sense, and also the idea of no punishment makes no sense.
Right.
And on and on you go, right? Like what? Adrian Peterson got a year for what he was doing to his son.
Yeah.
Ray Rice got the indefinite suspension, which when you say indefinite, that puts that bad flag on your name.
Right.
There was no definite timetable by which he could have come back. And so it made teams skittish about going after him. And I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to make it seem like, oh, well, Ray Rice deserved the job. If only that she wouldn't have never said. It's not that at all. It's, what do we consider the time for the crime? And once you serve it and, you're held to a reasonable modicum of behavior going forward, so long as you stay within those lines, like we don't endlessly pillory you about the shit you did in the past. But yeah, for these guys who go deny, like Greg Hardy, for example, like that woman had them bruises, landed on that bed with all them guns on it and stuff. And like his whole thing was, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. It wasn't me, I didn't do it. She did it to herself, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bruh.
It's like, boy, we see you. Like, what you doing?
And so, yeah, so you get into these situations where, again, like you're trying to legislate someone's morality and take away their livelihood in doing so. And I mean, this isn't that much different from calling racists out on Twitter. And busting them through their jobs or what have you. It's really not that different from that. But again, it's this establishment of, okay, what do we consider just punishment, and what do we consider the threshold to even issue this punishment? And it just seems like the NFL is making shit up as they go.
Yeah.
And so what winds up happening is you have this person who something probably happened to her. We can't prove much, and the rest is surrounded by incredulity. And now again, you got the situation where no punishment is too harsh, but also the idea of no punishment is equally palatable. So,
yeah, and like I
don't know, it's dumb. I don't know what to tell anybody. Like if you hit me on Twitter at Dan Chrism, at Crown and College, at CSPN Media, if you hit us on Twitter, and made a case in one direction or the other, I mean, I'm gonna post the text shrug dude and be like, you got a point, So
right. See, like when it first broke, like when it first broke, because remember, like when it first broke initially, and like those like, was it the police reports and also like the medical reports came out, and those were allegedly, and I haven't heard any update on those things, because some people were saying don't believe all the information that comes out, at one time. And I'm like, wow, that's true. I'm like, we also don't say that for other things, for police shootings. So, it's like, it's that thing where it's like, you may have a point, but it's that thing where you question, are you going full white people because this is a black man being accused of some shit? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know people don't like to hear that, but it's too many instances of us going full white folks when a black man is accused of some shit, and more often than not, yeah, that nigga did that shit. Like, this ain't applied against the black man. Yeah, that nigga did that shit. Now, again, I'm not saying Ezekiel Elliott did it, but what I am saying is, I think what's frustrating with me is that you can do both. You can say that the NFL is inconsistent and be upset at that, and also be upset at the fact that potentially this nigga put his hands on one. And also two things can exist where she's not the most perfect victim, but he also did something too. For me, multiple things can exist, but for me, it seems like people and the NFL and Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, obviously, because he's being accused of shit, but it's so many parties like stuck in the sand, when I'm like, multiple things can exist at the same time, and it's not worth dying on the hill for the NFL, for Ezekiel, or for any party involved, honestly.
Right. Like, so again, I'm in a situation where it's like, my hands are up, like my shoulders are up, like this is a shrug that I'm just stuck in as far as this whole situation goes. So I mean, we took a really long time to get to this point, but
right.
Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, again, like I'm at the end of it all, I'm low key kind of perturbed that the NFL has gotten into this business of arbitrating, behavior and trying to be like the leaders of the charge of like what morality is and should be and should feel like and so forth.
Because
so
honestly,
anyway,
they the last motherfuckers to try to regulate that shit. If we being honest,
exactly.
Oh,
But anyway, yeah, man, fuck that shit. What else we got to talk about? What else we gonna talk
yeah.
about today?
So speaking of head assery, oh wait, one more thing. So speaking of the NFL and speaking of something sports related, so apparently it happened yesterday, but I just saw it today. Before we recorded actually. So Jamel Hill called the motherfucker that white folks elected as president a white supremacist, and ESPN issued an apology on behalf of Jamel, or well, no, not even on behalf of Jamel, for them because of Jamel, and also distanced themselves from Jamel. It was a series of tweets that Jamel had where she called, yes, I'm looking at now, on September 11th, Donald Trump is a white supremacist who is largely surrounding himself with other white supremacists. He is the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime. His rise was a direct result of white supremacy. He has empowered white supremacists. He's Charlottesville. He is unqualified and unfit to be president. He's not a leader. He is a bigot. Glad you could live with voting for him. Yeah, I don't see a motherfucking lie. I don't see any lie. And this is ESPN statement. I gotta say this, my wife was. The comments on Twitter from Jamel Hill regarding the president do not represent the position of ESPN. We have addressed this with Jamel, and she recognizes her actions were inappropriate. Thank you for your consideration. Yeah, fuck you, speak. Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
No, I was just about to say the same thing, man. That is we ain't nah.
Yeah, fuck you, speak. ESPN.
It blows my mind how, like, unlike just about everything else in the world, like being a racist, being a white supremacist, the one thing where it's like the people who do it want free will to do it, but they don't want to be called it. Could you imagine? For example, let's say you drove a bus for a living, right? And somebody say, "Yo, what's up, man? Yeah, that's Jeremy, man. That's the homie who drives the buses." And you're like, "Whoa, hold on. What's this shit about the driving the bus thing you trying to say?" Like, yeah, I mean, it's a charter bus, and I know how to get it from to and from. You gotta go call me the fucking bus driver. Could you imagine?
Right.
Or if he were a teacher, yeah, man, Jeremy, he doing the middle school math thing, man. Really educating the kids, making it. Hey, man, hey, chill with that. I be in the classroom and I know how to write on a chalkboard, and yes, students listen to me, but this whole teacher thing, you got to get the fuck with that, bro. You can't be doing that shit. No. Could you imagine?
Right.
If the things that we wanted to do freely and openly, like I like watching basketball. Could you imagine, somebody you knew was going to Portland? You knew they like basketball. It was like, hey, hit up Dan, see if you want to go to the Trailblazers game. And it was like, they reached out to me and was like, yeah, Jeremy told me that you like going to basketball games. And whoa. He told you what? That I like basketball games? Word? Like, I don't know where he gets that from.
I wonder where.
that is so not me. I need to have a word with him when you and I are done here, because first of all, sir, yes, I do like basketball, but to go accusing me of being a basketball fan and inviting me to go watch a game, what is this? What is this?
Stop pushing your basketball agenda. Stop pushing your sportsy ball agenda. Well, yeah, man, fuck ESPN. It's funny. It's funny. A man who literally is supported by white supremacists is calling him that is what you get in trouble for. Not him being surrounded by white supremacists, but calling a spade a fucking spade is what Well, that Jamel's comments do not reflect the position of ESPN. Well, what the fuck is your position then? But yeah, anyway, fuck ESPN. So speaking of Mohead answers, so as we know, Hurricane Harvey landed and affected millions in the state of Texas and Houston and surrounding areas. And we sent our, like we said last week, we sent our thoughts and prayers to everyone that was affected, and hopefully everybody is getting funding and trying to get some semblance of their lives back together. Hopefully everybody was able to evacuate, and if not, we understand that not everybody was able to evacuate. Like I said, hopefully everybody is getting the help that they need. So, Beyonce, Queen Bey.
She's still looking nice.
Listen, Beyonce.
Let me not be like that. Let me not be like that.
Listen.
Listen.
Okay, listen.
I'm trying not to be reductive. Beyonce is a wonderful entertainer. She's a mother of 3 lovely children. She's,
all that
in an amazing partnership with a gentleman who really has taken his life and turned chicken shit into an ice cream cone. But
listen, autonomy, empowerment, all that shit. Listen, Beyonce, they got some nice ass titties. listen, them titties.
Hey, come on, man, make your point.
Listen, hey, listen, this is never not a good time to fawn over Beyonce's titties, okay? Listen. Also, somebody else that looks fucking amazing post pregnancy, fucking Ciara.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Beyonce, being the queen that she is, and actually I think her, along with other people, as Oprah and others, as we're recording this podcast, is actually hosting a telethon for relief, Hurricane Harvey relief. So again, still being wonderful. But everybody was not okay with her efforts in Houston because T.I. and Charlotte Coon the God, but I couldn't find his statements. But it's fuck that nigga anyway, so whatever. So T.I., the Stars Mac, called out a radio station for, quote, shining the light on Beyonce and ignoring Trade the Truth's charitable efforts. Trade the Truth is a local Houston rapper. Well, not local. He ain't just a local Houston rapper. He's a rapper from Houston, and since the hurricane hit, he had been, like I said, donating to people, helping Hurricane Harvey victims, kicking off and joining already existing relief funds, and also kicking off his own relief fund. And Beyonce joined, among with other entertainers. Beyonce joined and also did the same. And apparently T.I. was not okay with it. And this was on, let me see. This was on September 11th as well. American rapper T.I. has called out a Houston-based radio station, 97 The Box, for not publicizing the efforts of Houston rapper Trade the Truth in helping hurricane victims, but shining the light on Beyonce, who just joined the relief efforts. And they have just joined in quotes. And I'll tell you why they have that in quotes when I read the rest of the article. Here's T.I. Goddamn syllabus ass post, and I ain't gonna read all the shit, but I'm just
no, read the whole thing. Read the whole thing.
Oh, read the whole thing? You want me to read it in T.I. voice?
Read the whole thing. Yes.
Okay. All right. And shout it. Trade the Truth was there too, just like he had been there since day one, doing whatever he can for those in need. It ain't cool how y'all just try to overlook his week and a half worth of efforts and shine the light on someone else's. He been on the front lines rescuing people out there doing whatever he can for the people. Shout it. We ain't gonna let y'all do all bro like that. All exclamation points and all caps. This is bigger than just radio. Shout it. It's bigger than just business. This is for humanity. Y'all bugging. Shout it. At 97. At 979 The Box. Now, in the text below that post, an article, Beyonce's pastor announced that the superstar singer has given big to the effort, and days ago the singer, her mother Tina, her daughter Blue Ivy, and her friend Michelle Williams all went there to serve the survivors food. And also it should be noted that Beyonce, being from fucking Houston, has numerous charities and has put numerous money into the city over the years, and numerous shelters and relief funds over the years. It is, the receipts are there. It has been well known that Beyonce loved to fuck her some H-Town, and has given back to that city numerous times over her career. She has never once forgotten Houston. And so this is a case of trying to be loud and right, and being loud and wrong, and not having your receipts in order. For a nigga for a nigga like T.I. that know all the fucking words, he don't know the first word. He don't know what the fuck receipt mean. And also, it's just tacky. And Trader Truth, and while he trying to fight this battle on behalf of Trader Truth, who, by the way, had no issues with Beyonce and actually took several Instagram posts with pictures with her, and was there with her helping out people. What? What? Like, what? And like I said, I couldn't find Charlamagne the Coon's post, but it was kind of basically sort of similar. It was basically both of their posts basically scream, "Why are you taking this shine off a black man?"
Oh boy,
makes sense, because if
why is that train never late?
Well, it's never fucking late. Because if your goal is, if you genuinely give a fuck about the people there and want them to get help, why the fuck does it matter who gets the shine, quote unquote, and who? And like, look, I know some people, and we've seen it in like over the past couple of years, as far as activism goes, and like activism circles and stuff, and especially with black women, and kind of like the pro-black, Black Lives Matter and all these other, movements. Attribution matters. It does. Giving credit where credit is due matters. Citing your sources matters. It does. But in this situation, first of all, you can't control who the radio decides to give props or whatever. It's not your fucking radio show, so you can't decide who they decide to talk about. Second of all, Trader Truth, from all accounts, doesn't have a problem with Beyonce or people talking about Beyonce. He just give a fuck about the people needing and getting the help. Third of all, if you are so goddamn concerned, why don't you start your own relief fund, T.I.? Maybe that's a possibility. I mean, like I said, there's a live telethon right now. Maybe you join the telethon. I don't know. Maybe if you care so much, maybe you ain't a broke boy. Maybe put your money where your mouth is. I'm just saying. Make a novel concept.
Right. And okay, so medium take coming through here. Actually, no, I'm not even gonna say this is a take. Fuck off. This whole notion of like pocket watching that happens to celebrities when tragedies happen, and trying to like track, oh, who's doing this, who's doing that, who's doing next. All that shit needs to go, man. That is the worst cottage industry out there. Like, thing is, you got people who need help, and included in the people who need help is probably, like, again, especially in this case, because Beyonce's family is from Houston, probably mostly still lives there and whatnot. Like, that's still them, but then there's still just like regular fucking people who just, they just want that fresh thought, that remaking of wholeness again. Like, they don't care about, oh, well, this celebrity gave $2 million and this celebrity only gave $1.3 million, so I gotta like this celebrity more. They're not worried about that. So for everybody else on the sidelines, belly aching and making stories and scenes and situations out of all that stuff, it's lazy. Like, and I not that I don't like it, I can't like it. Like, there's no way, like, that even, talking about this now, I'm just like, why is anyone all up in their pockets like this? Why does it matter? Why is someone so like wrapped up in this whole notion of like needing to get in the way of who's doing what and how often they're doing it? Like, I mentioned, right in the immediate aftermath, I didn't have the money to help out right away. Like, I might be in a better position in a few weeks. But I'm not in that position right now. So, no, I can't help right now. And yeah, right now the legend says nothing. But soon it's going to say something, and that's what matters. Somebody who needs help got it. And I wish it could be just more focused on that. People who need help getting it.
Right. That's too much like right. Too much like right. So yeah, T.I. Putting his foot in his mouth. He always at odds with being on the right side of things. Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny? So moving right along. Speaking of being on the right side of things, so Betsy the dumbass is planning to roll back Title IX protections that were implemented under the Obama administration. For those that may not know, Title IX is basically it's something that was implemented. Well, it wasn't implemented under Obama, but it was strengthened under Obama's administration, basically to hold universities accountable. Like, hey, when there's assault on your campus, you have to investigate some shit. You have to do a thorough investigation. You have to do your damnedest to try to protect the accuser, protect the victim, and do a thorough investigation and not just sweep this shit under the motherfucking rug and act like it's just bitches be tripping. And because, this administration hates education and also hates women, and basically the dumbass is in charge of education, she is planning to roll back that shit to basically give the accused protection, because that's what the fuck accused people that are accused of sexual assault and violence against women. That's exactly what the fuck they need, more protection.
Yeah, no, not a fan of this at all. And I mean, say all the obvious things, yes, but end of the day, like this just goes to show once again, like the greatest threat to the safety of women is men. And yeah, it's Betsy DeVos who's in charge, but who put her in charge?
Exactly.
And who's probably dangling a job over her head like a carrot and saying, "Do what I say or else."
Yeah. You know what though? You know what? And somebody actually brought this up. And I did some, I did some research, and while it is absolutely true that she is working in an administration and for a motherfucker that shit is a rapist his damn self. Betsy the dumbass isn't, and I know you're not saying this, but Betsy the dumbass isn't a helpless victim in all this shit. She's complicit.
Oh yeah, no, of course not.
Yeah, she's complicit. If you look at her track record of how she destroys schools, and then even her comments about this shit, she basically did what her fucking boss did far as when he gave the speech after Charlottesville. She basically many sides fucking sexual assault and violence against women when bitch ain't no sides. Excuse me, language, but ain't no sides. Ain't no many sides. There's too much. It's like we said with Ezekiel Elliott. Where it's like what I said when we were discussing Ezekiel Elliott. 9 times out of 10, a woman isn't lying, or anybody that's been sexually assaulted. But again, we're focusing on women. 9 times out of 10, a woman isn't lying, and that one time that a woman may be lying does not negate the other 9 times that other women are not lying, that they have been abused and assaulted. And these college campuses, because this society does not give a shit about women and prioritizes everything over the safety of women, these college campuses get information and line up to make sure that these, at the very least, these football players, these athletes, shit, even other students, won't be convicted of assault, because it's a stain on their campus that they have to report that, hey, we had a student here and he was a goddamn rapist, and that is a bad mark on our school, and we may not get the recruits that we want because nobody wants to go to a school where they have motherfuckers that are fucking raping. So you already have that. Then again, you already have the fact that again, society often blames any and everybody, and we'll get into a situation of that in a second. Any and everybody, but the person that's doing the violence, the assaulting, they blame any and everybody, including the victim, other than the motherfucker that perpetrated the crime. And yeah, this is it's sad, it's alarming, it's putting more women in danger. But it's just a a reflection of our society that just similar to the fucking NFL, just refuses to get it right when it comes to the safety, well-being, and the protection of women. It's just we as a society, we refuse to get that shit right. But then don't wanna hear that men are trash. What is the truth?
Which is it? Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Hey, Will Smith should get a damn award just for saying that line alone. That shit was I know it was serious, but I was fucking howling when I saw that shit. When I heard him say that shit. So, tell the truth. Tell the truth. But yeah, so yeah, she's trash. She's internalized misogyny is a motherfucker, and internalized and willful misogyny is a motherfucker, and that's basically the dumbass to a motherfucking T. So we have to shed some light on some black lives that were lost to us, and then we're gonna wrap up and get out of here. We have to highlight I have several. We have to do an update. Charlena Lyles' autopsy was released. I think this article was released. It was originally published August 30th, and it was last updated. It was last updated at that same on that same day too. New a newly released autopsy report shows that Charlena Lyles was shot 7 times by Seattle police and was 14 to 15 weeks pregnant when she died when they shot her. It also states that she had no drugs or alcohol in her system when she was fatally shot. Uh, 3 of the gunshots fired struck her in the front, in the torso, in the front of the torso and chest, and three struck her in the back, and the reach in the back, and the other one grazed the side of her ribs, according to the report. Um, Several of the wounds would have been life-threatening on their own, including the one that cut through her uterus and the fetus, according to the report. Uh, yeah. So, and there's a statement from Charles Lyles. Uh, I thought I was at a low point of being sad, but the sadness just got worse. He said to his attorney, hearing the details of the shooting just makes me more empty. I lost my daughter and next my grandson. I just don't have words.
Yeah, no, that's a situation that, yeah, like if, hey, oh man, I just.
This is why Colin Neal. This is why Colin Neal. Shit like this. This is why Colin Neal. Also, we have to but yes, rest in peace and power, Charlena Lyles, and say her name and justice for Charlena Lyles and fuck the police. Here's another one, and this is one that I feel that we have to say, and because all Black Lives Matter, and this is from Trans Riot. I know I probably fucked that name all the way up, blaming on my head and not my heart, and also blaming on the fact that I sound like a pan of motor or forgive me. But as we know, trans men and women of color are under attack in this country, especially trans women of color. Also, real quick, I didn't. I had the article up and I was going to include it, but we had more stuff to talk about. But also, we touched on last week. Shout out to Monroe, Miss Monroe Bergford. Again, I know I messed that name up. Forgive me. She has not backed down on any of her comments. That L'Oreal fired her over because she told not one motherfucking lie. She's been getting a lot of support, as she should, and she has not, like I said, she's not backed down, and there's a great post. Let me see, can I pull the article back up? Actually, there's a great post on her thoughts about this shit. It is a great read. Here it goes. It is. You can find it on. Is it Broadly? Broadlevice.com, and it's a post from her by her. It was released on the 7th, and it's titled "What I Learned from Getting Fired by L'Oreal After Speaking Out Against Racism." It is a great read. It is very articulate. It's basically the truth. Like I said, she is a wonderful. She is a great person, and it is a great story, and it is like I say, it's a great read, and continue to lift her up as she finds other avenues to make her impact on the world. I just had to throw that in real quick, but back to this. As we know, like I said, trans people are under attack, and the 18th reported transgender person of color was murdered on September 6, 2017. Rest in peace and power to Kashmir Red. 28-year-old Kashmir Nasir Red was stabbed multiple times in the upper chest area in the early morning hours Monday during a domestic abuse by his partner in Gates, New York. Red stumbled out of the apartment on Kuchia Crescent and collapsed on the front lawn. Gates PD arrived on the scene at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Red was still alive when they arrived. He was taken to a Strong Memorial Hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. His partner, 40-year-old Doris Carr Sequillo, was arrested and has been charged with second-degree murder in this case. She has pled not guilty and is being held in Monroe County without bail. Red is the 18th trans person killed in 2017, and sadly the first trans masculine one. Once again, he fits the outgoing pattern of trans people under the age of 30 dying due to anti-trans violence, and the 15th African American trans person who has been murdered this year. I ask the question once again: when will all black trans lives matter to you, Black America?
All I can do is shake my head and go another one.
Yeah. Sadly, and like I said, man, it's sad. It is tragic. May he rest in peace and power. And I think, and I could be wrong, and like I said, forgive me, my head, not my heart. But I think this is the first trans man of color that I've seen reported that has been killed. I think ever, since people, particularly trans people have been using their voice and tracking this stuff, because unfortunately no one else will. Because usually it's trans women of color, but this is the first trans man I believe I've seen that has been murdered. And it's just sad.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen very often. Which is, I mean, that's also reflective of society as a whole. It's more women who get killed by men than the other way around.
Yeah.
And again, that applies to trans people as well. But yeah, no, when I put TDOR stuff together last year, I think I saw like one trans masculine identified person, and they weren't black. So like, so they didn't mean nothing to me, but like just it didn't have that same like residual like long lasting effect that this one will. So I don't know, man. Again, I struggle for words, broadly when it comes to talking about this kind of stuff because, again, this person died before the age of 30, and it's like there's still so much life in front of them, and that gets taken away from them, and there's no way to not say that that's tragic, and there's also just no way to really process it and make sense of it because it's like this is still a life taken way too soon. So,
right. But yes, rest in peace and power to Kashmir, and hopefully, his murderer will get the proper sentencing. But as we know, a lot of times in cases where trans people of color are killed, they do not. Their killer does not receive the full extent of the law and punishment the because like society does not value trans lives, and especially black trans lives. And I think it was one story that I think me and Curtis covered when he was yesterday in the filling in for you, where we uh where a cisgender Latino man murdered an underage trans girl of color, in which he was like 30 something and she was like in her teens. So not only is he a murderer, he's also a statutory fucking rapist. And I think at the time they arrested him and charged him, but I don't know what the sentencing was. But I bet if I go back to that story, I almost will be certain that he got off light in comparison as to if he would have murdered a cisgender person. You know. But like I say, rest in peace and power to him. And
And also, if I
oh,
could just really quickly, we gotta we'd be remiss if we didn't say anything about the Kanika Jenkins situation out in
yeah, I was finna
Chicago.
get to it. Yeah, that was next. I was finna get to it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those things where it's like so many things just don't add up, and obviously tragic death. Watching the video of her, mom speaking out was just that pulled on the heartstrings in ways things don't often do for me. It was just tough hearing that, and like my sole wish for that whole situation is that family gets detectives and investigators and things who give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be so important. That's going to move things along at the speed it needs to. That's going to make sure that the things that they need to do get done efficiently. But if they get somebody who's apathetic or who doesn't really, see it for this family, or doesn't see her value, doesn't see why something like this, was preventable in so many different ways, and get this girl's death solved, that would be really heartbreaking. It'd be a real, real, real sore spot on the Rosemont Police Force, because they brag in news clippings and all. Yeah, we're one of the better trained, one of the best qualified, forces in Illinois. Well, this is the time to step up and prove that. So
Yeah, and I think they already been royally fucking up because they've been, far as I can tell, just listening to her mother, they've been giving her wrong times and wrong information already as is. Like, so they're already starting off incompetent because at one they said she couldn't see the body, and two they said they said that, oh, she walked into the freezer and she killed herself because she was drunk. First of all, who the fuck? Who the fuck? That's number one. And then number two, um, I think as far as I know, the autopsy they has not determined that yet. There's been no word of if she was intoxicated or whatever. And then
yeah,
that video that I saw of her friends, quote unquote, and in the fucking video, you can hear her cry out for help. And that was gut wrenching in itself. And look, this sparked a lot of talk on social media, in particular Twitter, because usually that's where a lot of us are. Stop, men. We really gotta stop telling women what the fuck to do. Because a lot of the talk was not focused around the fact that this young woman was killed, was not focused around the fact that while we don't know what happened, you could clearly in the video hear her cry for help. And also in the video, because one of the girls had her phone or whatever, had the camera up to her face, and she had those big ass, those big ass City Trends ass shades. Well, you get at the corner, like at the damn counter for like $5. They big as fuck, like some shit Brooke Valentine would wear back in the day in the Girl Fright video, where you could see the reflection, and you could see the reflection. Someone has her in a chokehold in the video, or has their arm around her neck in the video, and you can hear male voices, and one of them actually in the video says, and trigger warning, but one of the males actually says, "Let's rape her." And that was after. No, was it after or before? It was either after or before she cried for help, but a lot of the talk was focused on she should have picked better friends or be mindful of who you hang with, instead of, hey, let's not fucking commit violence against women. How the fuck about that?
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, and we do this shit so often, and it's when I say what I say, when I'm hard, quote unquote, on men and quote unquote on particularly black men, it's because I want us to be fucking better, dog. Like, I don't say the shit that I say, and I'm not the way that I am because I hate us. It's like I want us to be fucking better.
I kind of do a little bit, and
Go ahead.
We start being better, I said I kind of do a little bit, and if we want to start being better, like a damn good place to start would be with those of us who clearly have this, this anger and this hostility toward the way men behave. It'd be better for them to just fucking respond to that and step up and just be better and do better. But like we say before, too much like right. So
yeah, too much like right,
gotta temper our expectations and shit. But it's like, we say this shit and we get this way for a reason. And the reason is because y'all not doing right, by women, and then want women to stay doing right by y'all, and that shit ain't cool. So
right, but like, it's just, and
be better, get everybody off your backs. Goodness.
Right. I know every man isn't saying women protect.
No.
Hilarious. I know every man isn't saying to, and I'm talking to specifically ones that care but kind of miss the mark when it comes to this kind of point right here. And it's like, I know I say stab him, and shout out to XD and all this shit. I kind of sort of be joking, but then not. But I know not every man is saying this to be obtuse and to be, whatever. But if you're telling women to protect themselves while also not
protecting them yourself,
that too, but also not challenging men to, hey, let's do fucking better, then you might as well keep the women need to be safe advice, because it's a moot point. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You like the problem isn't women aren't protecting themselves, because men can harm women whether they protect themselves or not. Yes, and in theory, it's not bad advice to say, women, you should protect yourself. On the surface, that's not bad advice. But like I said, if you're not doing that while also challenging yourself, challenging your friends, challenging men, challenging the status quo, ensuring that, hey, let's challenge and change toxic masculinity, rape culture, abuse, domestic violence. Let's tackle that shit. And the biggest perpetrators of that shit is men. It is statistically a motherfucking fact. Even on the off chance you're a head ass and don't want to just listen to women, there is literal fucking data. And I put a link in the show notes this week that leads to a page for women violence against women statistics. There is literal fucking data. There's literal present data and also historical context that men, since pimping has been pimping, have been fucking horrible towards women. If you're not trying to challenge and change that while you're telling women to protect themselves, you might as well not say shit. Because it's more or less trying to tell the victim how they should react to the abuse without challenging the root of the abuse. That's all. I ain't even talking. Go ahead.
Stop going to the horses and getting bit. Like, stop doing that shit, man. Don't. Like, again, I just get annoyed when I see it, when I read it. And yeah, no, I just get disgusted, man. And I really don't have nothing really new to add to what you said. Like, fucking be better. Period.
Yeah, we have to do better. And like, a lot of, as I'm learning more and I'm growing more and evolving more and I'm reading more and, you know, expanding my horizons and all that shit more. Like, one thing that I keep going back to this, and I'm pretty sure people have heard me talk about this at length and ad nauseum. But the one thing that sticks out to me more than anything is that letter to Birmingham that MLK wrote about the white moderate. Is the motherfuckers that know shit is wrong,
but don't do shit to change it.
Right. They know shit is wrong and say they're on the side of right, but don't do, like you said, don't do shit to change it and don't challenge the wrong. And I look at that shit as, you know, when we talked about it with April, privilege. And that's kind of how as I'm growing, I see a lot of shit. You know, it's like, who has privilege in this situation? You know, a lot of times when white people, obviously, and I know a lot of people hate constantly bringing up their analysis comparison to white people, but they literally, especially white men, they literally are like, if you want to point out the hypocrisy in how a marginalized person can also be oppressive through the lens of privilege, use the example of white people. Because, and white men specifically, because whatever intersection you cross, white men are going white men and go full white man privilege. And you can use that example and be like, oh, so that's how I'm kind of similar to white men in this situation, and how it's hypocritical of me to pay attention to my shit, but when it's somebody else's, then I become the white man in that situation and don't want to hear shit.
It's like Clinton Yates, who writes for the Undefeated, says on his podcast all the time. The first privilege is male privilege.
Exactly. And in this situation,
hold on to that one.
Right. And then a lot of times in these situations, you know, unfortunately, black men, we become the white people in this shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're not trying to change the status quo and make shit safer for women, then I mean, maybe shut the fuck up when women say men are trash. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, if you're not trying to bring no groceries into the house, you can't really complain about the food that's being cooked.
Hello.
Like, and I know that's a country ass analogy, but hey, fuck it, y'all know my heart. You know what it is. This is a podcast called Crown of College. You knew what the fuck it was when y'all played this shit. But yeah. Rest in peace to Kanika, and as more information comes out, you know, we will stay posted with her family and stuff. But like, yeah, and also I saw this before I logged on, and of course this train is never late. Listen, hey, I know that people love black men and specifically black women, and I know that, you know, people love us, and, you know, to a fault actually. But hey, if someone is pointing out that, hey, this at the very least was co-inspired, her death was at the very least aided by black men, her death was aided by black men, and if someone points out that this is the latest in a pattern of black men aiding in violence towards black women specifically, this ain't the time for you to be not all black men. It's never the time to be perfectly fucking honest. Thank you, Dan. It's never the time to be not all black men if we keeping it 100, but definitely not in this situation. Black men, whether you want to bring up the other black women, the black girls that were in on this shit, that's fine. Okay, I get it. That's fine. But the violence that was committed against Kanika was at the hands of black boys, black males. You can't escape that shit. Like, no matter how you feel, you can't escape that fact. That is a fact. Whatever the fuck, at the end of the day, whatever happened to her, for the most part, was at the hands of black males. So if someone's pointing out that this is the latest in a pattern of black males being violent towards black females, forgive me for saying that word, but if someone wants to point that out, let them. It is fucking relevant. It is a fucking fact, and it is not the time to go not all black men. If you want to, like Dan said, if you want to see better, if you don't want to see people come for black men, quote unquote, then fucking do better.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good ass note to wrap this show on, actually.
Yes, because I hear you in the background with the microwave. What you over there cooking?
Man, I'm about to just heating up some leftovers. Ain't nothing major.
Yeah, leftovers are of the Lord, so I feel it.
Hey, middle of the month, man. It's that time. But thank y'all for listening. As always, you can find the show CSPN.us. The show is brought to you by a number of sponsors. So go to CSPN.us, roll on down, click keep our show free. Hit up those sponsors. We got all kind of different deals for all kind of different occasions. I can't really say back to school no more. School is kind of in full swing now, unless you're on the quarter system. But get you some things, now that you know what's going on in school, you need, your notebooks or whatever the fuck. Shop through Amazon. If you need headphones for the lab you got, shop through Skull Candy. If you just want some funny ass shirts to wear on campus, shop through Buster Tees. If you meet somebody on campus and you're trying to get the adult dances popping, shop through Adam Eve Toys, and so on and so forth. So a little something for every occasion. Again, find us at CSPN Media, at Crown and College, at Dan Chrism, at Blake_Dante. Those are our at names. Use the hashtag Crown and College to talk to us about the show. Leave us your thoughts, leave us your comments, leave us, things about Falcons blowing the 2023 Super Bowl lead. And we're gonna call it
Okay.
We're gonna call it a great show on that note. Y'all have a good night. Thank you. Thank you.
Fuck the Saints.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm a Titans fan.
Bye, y'all.